I'm Delta Work, and this is Very Delta. Joseph Shepard's on the show today, and we talk about Rachael Ray, LARPing, and Dino nuggets. But first, do you want to see me go off? Because I think you want to see me go off.
Oh.
Mom!
Do you hold the space? Are you very scary like me? Ghoulish, gory? Ooh, are you on the edge like me? Turned on by a corpse? Bargains fall across the strip mall. The lunch hour is close at hand. Karens crawl in search of managerial blood, and goblin monsters terrorize this 99-cent neighborhood. Pumpkin spice, flickering candles, seasonal whiskey by the handles, scented soaps, unlimited soups, a TJ Maxx, I gots to poops, a cold Diet Coke, a small fried fish. When hearts gather round, we have one wish. Oh wait, is that a spirit Halloween? It's Very Scary Delta!
I'm Delta Work, and this is Very Scary Delta, a luxury public access podcast and YouTube talk show where I look gorgeous, speak extemporaneously, and invite fascinating people to sit on the couch and get very Delta. Very Scary Delta is for the woman who only keeps a landline with the hopes that one day Freddie's tongue will come through the receiver. But first, let's get into some things that are very scary, Delta.
Go off, Delta!
Do you want to know a secret? 90% of the time, I don't complain. And I know that surprises you. I know you think that all I do is complain and offer no solution. And while that is the basis of this show, there is so much that happens to me that I don't complain about. I know a lot of people are like, wow, she gets really bad customer service. I wonder if she's a bad customer. I wonder if she's mean. And I think the reality is that I just go out a lot more than most people. I eat out a lot. I probably eat out in a restaurant 4 times a week. That's a lot compared to most people. I probably should be cooking at home, saving money, eating healthy. I'm not going to do any of that. But what I am going to do is go out and I'm going to expect really great service. I'm going to expect to tip for that really great service. I even tip for bad service. But there is this thing where I also am nervous sometimes to speak up. You know, I've talked about making myself small. Ooh, can I get some sauce? And I do that all the time because as someone who's worked in customer service as an associate as well as a manager, I understand this idea that people deal with really people all the time. So I hold the space for understanding that sometimes people are just having a bad day. Sometimes they put all the mayonnaise on the sandwich and I say, guess what? I'm just going to scrape it off at home. It's not worth it this time. If I'm going to complain about something, it's something that I've been pushed to. It's where I realize that this looks like a habit and it's one that I need to break. So, for instance, I get a pedicure every 3 weeks and I love getting a pedicure. But here's the thing. The girl that gives me the pedicure, I would say half of the time, she cuts me and leaves me bleeding. And I don't have the nerve to say anything to her because I don't think she does it intentionally. But here's the thing. I do feel like I have a leg to stand on, no pun intended, because she's on the phone the whole time. She has her Bluetooth in and she's talking while she's doing the pedicure. So I feel like she's not focused on what she's doing. And maybe she's got a lot going on. Maybe she's talking to family. Maybe she's looking for a different job. Maybe she's ordering her Halloween costume. I don't know what it is that she's doing, but she's literally from the second I walk into the second I leave, she's on the phone. So I feel like she's not focused on her job. And I look around and I don't see anybody else on their phone. And when I say on their phone, I mean, you know, with the Bluetooth and the phone's over here and I see her doing her manipulations and all the things that you do during a pedicure. But sometimes I'm like, I don't think she's paying attention. Like I see her put the remover on and this is what I see. I don't think that's pushing back the cuticle. I think that's setting the stainless steel cuticle pusher onto the cuticle and then setting it and then setting it and then setting it and then setting it. That's not a manipulation. That's not doing that. And then when she goes through with the nipper, I just see myself like, ooh, I will tighten up. Like I feel my whole body tighten up. And then she'll like tap me and go, you okay? You're okay? I'm not okay, but I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. Oh, I'm ticklish. Like I don't want to say, because I feel bad, right? And I also feel like I'm in that situation where if you do say something, the people that are in there are going to think, oh, look at that brute saying something. Looks so mean. Because that's like, it's the optics of that. The optics of someone who looks like me sitting in a room with a bunch of old ladies getting pedicures. And then I'm the one that's like, oh, you cut me again. And then she puts like super glue and she puts alcohol and she squeezes it. And I'm like, you got to just let it bleed out. Just let it stop bleeding on its own. But then I have to leave and there's like glue and there's cotton ball and there's all this stuff. And then for a week, there's just like a black something there. And I don't say anything. And I still tip her. I still tip her 30% for that service. And I want to speak up, but then like speak up for what? What's going to happen? They're going to bring somebody else in who may do the same thing. I mean, other than that, she's really great. Again, I don't think she does it on purpose. I think she does it because she's not paying attention. But how do you tell somebody? Like, I don't want to like toe check her with my foot on her shoulder, but maybe I have to do that. And the same can go for like any situation, right? I personally don't smoke marijuana, but I hold the space for anyone who does. I think it relaxes people. I think it helps people focus in many ways. I believe that it is medicinal for people. So we know all these properties are very important, very necessary. And a lot of people use it to get through this thing we call life, as Prince said. However, if I get into an Uber, I feel like I shouldn't have to like open the door and clouds come out. And I should have to just assume that like I'm going to be getting a contact high. I'm going to have to just sit there and hotbox in the car. And I could complain about it on Uber, but in my mind, it's like, I don't want somebody to lose their job because of it. But I do want someone to know like, hey, I think you're probably not supposed to be operating a vehicle, certainly in a professional manner and certainly with guests who are not aware that you're inebriated. Like, I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe I need to look into it. I just thought you weren't allowed to have like mind altering substances to the point that like, it looks like a fog machine's going on in the car. And then I get in and I'm like, oh Jesus, I don't want to say anything. Cause then people will be like, oh, why aren't you cool? Like it's cool. It's not big. It's not a big deal. It's from the earth. Oh, okay. Well, how about I light up a Benson and Hedges Menthol Ultralight Deluxe? Would that be cool? Because tobacco comes from the earth. Isn't that cool? I'm confused as to what's cool and what's not cool and like why it's wrong for me. Like, like I said, I'm not going to say anything. I just report great. Like I click on the thing and I'm like, great communication, clean car. Cause it was clean, safe driver. I mean, nothing happened, but I have a contact high. I've been in your car for 45 minutes. I'm high and I don't want to be high. I didn't choose to be high. You decided that I needed to be high. I feel like that's really ballsy for people to be like, what? Oh, well, guess you're getting high. Too bad for you. That seems really like presumptuous. And so I don't say anything because guess what? So when people hear me talking up here and going off and complaining about the things that are happening, listen to everything I'm saying here. Realize that this is where I go off. I don't go off in the store. I don't call managers over. I might write a letter to corporate, but I don't go up to an employee and say, you didn't do this right. You didn't make my sandwich right. This recipe doesn't taste good, because it's not their job. It's somebody else's job to govern the employee. But what do I do in the situations where I don't think there's anything I can do about this? I'm just silent. So I don't go up to an employee and tell them, you didn't do this right. You didn't do that right. I might write a letter, and I get to that point. I get to the point of complaining when I hear that tone when I hear that sound. And it's not so much how loud someone is, it's how they say something. Have you ever heard that? When people go, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. It makes a difference. And when somebody says something to me and they take that tone, and I haven't taken that tone, that's when I'm like, oh, I'm going to need to write a letter. I'm going to need to speak to someone higher than a manager in the store. I'm going to have to deal with this outside of this place. I'm just going to take my receipt, say thank you, have a nice day, leave, and I'll deal with it somewhere else. You know, I love cats. And cats and humans are mammals that have something in common that no other mammal has in common. And that is that cats and humans are the only two mammals that torture their prey before they kill it. I don't want you to lose your job, but I might fuck around and I don't want you to lose your job, but I might fuck around with corporate to make things difficult for you. Watch your tone. Do you want to see me take a break? Because I think you want to see me take a break. Today's guest is a homosexual. He's a host, a producer, an interviewer. It's Joseph Shepard.
Whoa.
You are a real homosexual, right?
I am.
You
You
don't
said
just play
that
one.
and I questioned it for 2 seconds, but no. Yeah. Always.
You questioned it.
I did question it when I was younger.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I think that as I was growing up, I always, I was brought up Christian. I was brought up in the South in Tennessee, and it was always something that I didn't necessarily think or know. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be straight and I'm going to have kids and I'm going to marry. And then as opposed to going gay, I told myself I'm going to be a single father.
Oh, okay.
And so in my head, I had it chalked up. You know what? I'm not going to get married. I'm going to be a single father. I'm going to live my life. And then once I went into Target and then I saw bulges and underwear at 11 or 12, I knew from there something had changed.
Do you think you'll ever be a father?
Maybe to a dog.
Mm-hmm. Do you have pets?
No, I don't. I'm
Okay.
allergic to everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe a dog one day, maybe a nice little corgi or maybe a nice cat, but I'm allergic to cats. So
Wait, so what happens when you're around pets?
I turn into a tomato.
Really?
Yeah, I literally my mom got me a cat when I was 7 years old and I was so happy. And for the first week that cat slept on my pillow. And then I ended up in the emergency room and I was a red tomato and it was no more animals.
That is not good.
No,
Are you allergic to any kind of foods?
just lactose intolerant.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but no. But I'm the pickiest eater.
Do you think you're picky or you're just specific?
No, I'm picky.
You are. You admit that fully.
I admit it. I can't do soups. Soups are a big no. I don't like liquid in something. If I'm eating it, a liquid is a no-no. You have your whole rant about chicken on bones.
Uh-huh.
I hate chicken on bones. It's got to be a nugget. It's got to be a tender. It's got to be white meat. When my dad would bring home the KFC, if he didn't want to cook, I would literally just eat the crunchy skin off.
Yeah. That's
all
the
I would
best
eat.
part.
I'm and then I would leave everything else for the rest of the family.
And you just can't go any further because then it starts to turn colors.
Yes.
There's a maroon and a. But you know what's funny? So most of my close friends all love soup, and we always talk about soup, and we like to go out and have soup. But one of my very closest and dearest friends is the only other person I know besides you now who detests soup,
Oh, I detest it.
and that's Mayhem Miller. She cannot stand it. She's tried and she tries to get
Uh-huh.
better, but she's like, it's just not for me. And
Yeah.
I come from that place where if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody needs to train themselves to like. There's too many other things.
Yes.
When I was a kid, and still to this day, I don't like peas. And so my family would always say to my mom, oh, he has to eat his peas. And my mom's like, there's so many other vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Why force him to eat something he doesn't like? Then he's going to not like any vegetable.
Yes.
Because you're forcing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Your
how I
mom was
feel
smart
too.
there.
Yeah. I want to get right into this because you do something very specific that a lot of people have podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a podcast, and maybe everybody should because everyone has something to say. But you have, you currently have Exposed After Dark,
Mm-hmm.
2 Brain Cells Left with Sugar and Spice,
Mm-hmm.
Queening Out with Laganja.
Mm-hmm.
You've had so many other shows and had your hand in front. How do you determine what content goes into each show? Because it kind of overlaps.
It does kind of overlap. So when I was in college, I always wanted to host. I always wanted to do entertainment news. That's kind of what it was. And then I randomly started interviewing local musicians and stuff that were like in town.
Mhm.
And one week I saw in one of the venues, it was going to be the Drag Race season 6 girls were coming through. And I had never seen an episode of Drag Race ever.
Oh, okay.
Drag queens scared me.
Okay.
When I lived in New York, it was like, I don't know what it was. And I was like, if we were going out and there would be like a drag bar or something, it was something that I just didn't understand at the time. And I think that that's probably because I was young. I was still coming out of my Christian bubble of like being in Tennessee. But I saw these girls were coming through. I hit up the PR person. I was like, hey, can I come through an interview? And they were like, yeah, sure. Go ahead and come through. And so I ended up interviewing Adore. But the night before, I binge watched season 6, watched the whole thing. I became addicted. And then from there, I was like, I feel like these queens have a story that isn't shown on TV. Like you all are your own individual person. TV shows one side of you. Also, some girls don't get the edit that they want or that they think that they need, or maybe TV presented them in a light that they didn't have. So that's kind of why I started the show. I worked with Willem on something, and Willem was just always talking, in the back about things that were happening. And I was like, I really want to get your story across. So he sat down with me, and that was the first expose that I did. And I really just found this love for just telling other people's stories. You came on Exposed and we did that. And then from there, I was like, what can I do that's different? What's a little bit like taking the same formula, but switching it up just enough so that it's not the same tired play that you see all the time.
Yeah. It's interesting because Jinx mentioned like, now more than ever, there's more opportunity for drag to be seen in different ways and understood. And I've been on your show before, and there's just something that you have that I think is how you're able to have it through all these shows. And that is that you can see all the different nuances from one person. And that's, I think, obviously you're dressed as a superhero or with a superpower. You do have that. It is a superpower that you have, is the ability to not just hear people, but listen to them. And then I think that's how you're able to pull that out. I admire it so much. I think it's great. I think it's what people love. I think people want to hear more of someone's story. And is that something have you always been talkative?
No, I haven't been talkative. And I think that that's a thing that people can notice sometimes in my interviews, that I don't necessarily take the front seat and like interject about myself and all of that. I am on the spectrum. So I am high functioning on the autism spectrum. So people's stories just captivate me in a way. Like I love hearing how people were raised or how, they got into something. It's just something that's so captivating. But for me, myself, I always try to take the backseat because I want people to know who somebody else is. Like you said, there's tens of millions of different podcasts, and you can have a great banter with somebody, but actually telling that story and getting across who they are, that's why I take the backseat.
And do you like Spectrum? Have you had Charter before, or has it always been Spectrum?
I've had Spectrum. I've had Time Warner when I lived in New York. That was awful. I'm now on Starry.
Okay. Yeah, there's so many different options at this point. I think I just want to get an old-fashioned antenna and put it on my TV and see what happens.
I thought you were going to say your head.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Have you ever done drag yourself?
I have done drag.
Everything's drag.
Everything's drag.
It really is. You're in drag now.
Yeah, I am.
But like female impersonator, the pageantry kind of drag. Have you done that?
No, I've had people do my makeup. I've done Halloween's always a big thing for me. Always trying to do like characters and things that I had a love for, but I've done drag a couple of times, makeup wise, hair wise, outfit wise, but I've never done a performance. And that's been my one thing that I always want to do. So if you ever are feeling the vibe, Delta, and you're like, you know what, Joseph, you get a one-night performance in Long Beach, I'll gladly
we're doing it.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. We are doing it. We have to.
Yeah.
This is on the books. You're going to see Joseph Shepard performing at the Executive Suite in Long Beach. It will happen.
Yes.
But you don't have to give away the actual song, but what's like the vibe? Like what kind of song might you do?
Okay.
Maybe an artist.
Well, I will tell you that before Willow Pill was on Drag Race, my goal was to do Only Time by Enya.
Okay.
And the way that my mind works is just like, I want something outlandish that not everybody does all the time. Maybe, what were they called? I think they're called like the Bloodhound Gang.
You
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. So let's I want stuff like that. That's like my
Okay,
my
okay.
vibes. Yeah.
So obviously you're a fan of eclectic music, different
Yes.
kinds of music.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I just thought about this.
Okay.
I go into these random I love the 90s. I love any type of music in the 90s. I'm also talking like rhythm as a dancer. I love like, snap. I love like all of like the club music and everything from that time period. But also there was this band and it was called Erotic.
Okay.
And they have this song, Please Help Me, Dr. Dick.
Oh, I don't think I remember this. I should remember this.
It's like, come on and please help me, Dr. Dick. I got your love. I love it. Like those type of songs, yes. 100%.
You need to perform that.
You know what? Yes.
That could be the song.
Because that's a performance and it's also talking about a doctor and everything. Yeah, it's a full story.
You could be a nurse.
I could be a nurse.
Yeah. Would you be a naughty nurse?
Maybe like a naughty doctor.
Oh, a naughty doctor.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like we always see like naughty nurses in Halloween, but like where's the naughty doctors?
Yeah. I always think about, and this time of year, like it's always the sexy, I'm a sexy this, I'm a sexy pilgrim, I'm a sexy, what is that meme that floats around where it's like, it just shows like a really hot guy in a harness and it's like four of the same thing.
Yes! And it's literally like doctor, lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Yes.
I have to say it like this. As much as I love Halloween costumes, if I had that body and that harness, I would also say I'm a sexy lawyer. I
Yes.
wouldn't give a Why not?
Why not?
Do it. Who cares? I hold the space for all the costumes. Have you ever dressed up as a zombie for Halloween?
Never for Halloween, Delta.
But for work?
But for work.
Tell me.
One thing, like we said, when I interview drag queens, I don't necessarily talk a lot about myself. So I was very excited to be here today to be able to chat with you. This is an absolute honor. I just want to say that. The things that you do, I don't know if you take it in, but I think that you should. Your show, starting from where it started to where it is now and seeing the memes and seeing everything happen and seeing like this excitement, I love it. I love everything about it.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad that you found this because I love seeing you every single Sunday. But yes, I normally, when I interview girls, I don't necessarily talk about myself. So the little known facts are not necessarily known. I was a zombie on the first episode of The Walking Dead when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. My friend was working in casting and she called me up and she said, I don't think this show is going to go anywhere, but would you
Can you
like
imagine?
to come on? We need some more people. And she was like, you can be a zombie. And I was like, cool. And then I got there and then there was a zombie school. You had to like do all of these things. There was the casting director and you went through a whole like 12-hour day. You had to do walks and you had to do like, pretend like they'd be like, there's somebody up there, like go run after them. And then you'd have to like do however your run would be. And then they were like, you get the special shot. So I got shot in the head.
No.
Yes.
And how does that go down? I mean, is it like you just hear a sound effect and you...
Oh, no. They put a funnel in my mouth. They filled it with blood, like fake blood. And I had to hold this thing. There is a pump that was going down my leg and somebody was on the ground walking with me. So the camera saw me from the back and then literally they did a gunshot and the guy hit the pump and the blood just shot out of my mouth.
And what is like? What does it have? Like that peppermint taste, or was
Oh
it
no,
nothing?
it tasted so bad. It got in my eyes. It
Really?
got disgusting.
Ew,
Yeah.
Now, have you ever had it shoot in your mouth before, or was it just that time?
You know, I've had white liquids before,
Uh-huh.
also like Diet Coke, but never blood.
And then it was in the tube. And how did you do it again? Show me again how you.
It was like a little like this, and then it went.
Wow. Stupid.
Yes.
We have to get back to this. Let's
Yeah.
take a break. We are back with Joseph Shepard, a real live homosexual and also a television presenter. We were talking about you being in The Walking Dead and being literally killed. That leads into the fact that I know that you love B horror films.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about some of your favorites.
Okay. I love really bad B-level horror movies. There are a few that are like on Netflix. There's 13 cameras, 14 cameras, and 15 cameras. It's, of course, a trilogy. The Terrifier is my favorite, although it's just called Terrifier, but I absolutely love it. I love when you can see the hard work that somebody puts into something.
Mhm.
And even if it was shot on a potato, somebody did that.
Yeah.
And horror movies today, I think, concentrate too much on trying to appeal to a massive audience that you lose the horror fans.
Mhm.
So I love those like niche ones that you find. I love going back and watching like old 80s and 90s ones like Slumber Party Massacre and stuff. Like I love it.
Yeah. What about like mainstream horror films? Are there any that like traditionally are just frightening to you?
I will actually say I don't think I've ever been scared in a horror movie.
Mhm.
But Scream is my favorite franchise, I will say. I absolutely love it. First one was great. I think I think I know where the love of my horror movies came from now that I think
Okay.
about it. When I was between the ages of 9 and 13 and you go into Blockbuster, I would rent every single Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween,
Mhm.
and I would take that cassette home, I would put it into the VHS player, and I would just fast forward because the girls always showed their boobs and ass. And I thought in my head, if there's a sex scene or something, there's going to be one day where a dick shows. Never happened because,
Mhm.
you can't do that. It's a rated R movie. But in my little like 11, 12-year-old head, I was like, it's going to happen one day.
You're gonna see
It's going to
it.
happen.
Mhm.
And it didn't.
When I was a kid, there was this like the TV would be scrambled on Cinemax or
Uh-huh.
whatever, and you would like sometimes it would go like "Nyeh," and it would stick, and you're like, I see it,
Yes.
I see it, right? Yeah, and it feels like you're like I don't know, something magical has happened.
Yes.
Yeah,
Those were the days.
they were the days. I mean, actually, renting videos used to be the day. That was such an activity. It was such a Friday night thing to go out and do that, and now it's like everything's at your disposal, which kind of makes it not as
Mhm.
fun to just like go up and you would have to like wait to go to the movies,
Mhm.
and then going to the movie was a big thing, and then oh no, we're gonna wait till it comes out on video cassette.
Yes.
But now it's like okay, everything's released on the same day. Find everything at the same time. It's that hunt isn't there.
Or if it was like a Disney movie and they put it in the vault,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, so we got to wait another 8 years so I can see this again.
You know what's unnerving is like looking at you and talking to you and seeing like obviously the color wheel would amplify something. So it's
Mhm.
like amplifying the pink in your mouth.
Oh, because of the blue. Yeah.
And so it makes it so like bubble gum in your mouth. But obviously you're not chewing gum. And you have pretty teeth.
Thank
Look
you.
how pretty you are. I love that. I know that you produced with Rachael Ray,
Mhm.
right? Have you ever cooked with Rachael Ray? No?
There was a rule when I worked at Rachael Ray.
Okay.
You couldn't look at Rachael Ray in the face.
Why?
You couldn't do it. If she was walking down the hallway and you were walking down the hallway, you were required to stop and turn. So you would not see her face and she wouldn't see you. So, no. Never cooked with her.
What was she afraid of?
Probably the homosexuals.
Do you think she created that rule, or do you think there's people that just wanted like pomp and circumstance surrounding her? Like was she unfriendly if
Yes.
you did? Oh, really?
She was very unfriendly.
Oh, why? I wonder who hurt her. That's weird.
I don't know, but there were moments where we would like get into work and you would just hear a screaming match between her and her husband like in the dressing room, and you'd be like, oh, 6 a.m. again.
Yeah. I hold the space for everybody to cook the food that they want to cook. But Rachael Ray, your shit's trash. Your food is gross. You look like a hot mess when you're cooking it. You have zero respect for any of the origins of any of the food. You need to step out and just make beef stroganoff from a box because that's basically the food that you're making. No one cares. You are not all that. Anyone can look at you. I would love to go see you and look you in the face. I would love for this. Where's her face? I need to see her face. I want this to be her face. And I want
Okay.
to look at her and I want to follow her around and go, I'm looking at you. Rachael Ray, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Do you see me? Do you see me, Rachael Ray? I'm looking at you. And guess what? Your pozole ain't and it does not require honey. Stop putting honey in Mexican soups.
Do you want to know what else is bad of hers?
Tell me. I want to know.
Never buy her pots and pans. When I worked there,
The handles fell off.
everybody always talked about how great they were. She would go and sell them. Every bit of fan mail that we got was people being like, please give me my money back.
Ain't that a shame? You know why? She probably didn't show up to any of the meetings about it. She just said, put my name on it. It's like all these people that are like, oh, guess what? We're going to have a beaker collection. Put my name on it. We're going to have microscope. Put my name on it. They don't give a at all.
You know what?
I want my you would want your name on something good.
Yeah. A
Right?
very Delta microscope.
Can you imagine?
What were those things that you had like as a child? Do you remember you would like put them on your eyes and you'd put the little card in and then you go doo, doo, like a viewfinder?
A viewfinder,
Yes.
Let's get back to Rachael Ray. Why is Rachael Ray celebrated? You know what? People always make fun of semi-homemade with Sandra Lee. At least she was like, guess what? I only want to do half the work and I want to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have a show. And
Yeah.
people were like, you know what? I'm not mad. But Rachael Ray's like, I'm going to reinvent everything from, the coast of, you're not remaking anything.
Rachael Ray did one thing great.
Dog food.
No.
Doesn't she have nutrish?
She does. But she did this one part in her show where she was talking about the hamburger buns. Do you know this clip?
No.
And so she literally is making a burger and she goes and she pulls out the bun and the bun was 2 bottoms.
Okay.
And she literally was like, and then you're going to put the burger on. And she goes, oh, 2 bottoms. That's no fun at any party.
Oh, well, she's onto something there.
Mm-hmm.
She is onto something there. Just stay out of the kitchen. Stay
Mhm.
out of the kitchen. That's what I say. That's weird to me that she would, like, what's the point of that? You're going to be around people. Like, we all have a bad day. I get that. But I mean, if you have to stipulate, I don't want to, do you have that rule at your shows? You don't like people.
I mean, this is
looking
the
at
first time I'm looking at you.
I know.
Yeah.
That is the rule here too.
No.
But it's different here.
No, I love talking to everybody. Yeah.
I talk to regular people.
Yeah.
I like regular. I like the real. I like to serve the community.
Do you serve the community in the grocery line? Do you talk to people in front or behind you?
I like to, this is what I get nervous when I see someone behind me in line who has less items than me. So I always offer for them to go ahead of me. And this is another thing. My mom uses a cane and she has one of those disabled placards.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go somewhere with her, I'm like, well, we should probably park closer. So I'll say, bring your car, your thing, and we'll put it up. And I always feel like I have to let her get out of the car first so that people aren't like, this fat ass doesn't want to fucking. And so I'm like, no, it's because of her. I want, you see? And because I don't want any bullshit. You know what I mean? Because people will get crazy. People will get crazy. Do you ever illegally park your car because you're just going to run inside real quick?
On the side of the street, yes.
You do?
Put the flashers on, you make a run for it.
If you are in a zone that says 25 miles per hour, how much will you go over that?
Are there children?
No, there's no children.
If there's no children, 15 over.
Really? Now, what happens when you turn the corner and you have one of those things that's counting your speed? Will you slow down or will you just like go?
I think that those are such tactics, but yes, I do slow down.
You do slow down.
Yeah.
See, when I drive here, I pass through an area by Griffith Park where it's 25 miles an hour, like through the golf course and all that. And people fly by and I will put it on 25 and I will put it on cruise control. And I will just have my hands resting there and people will fly by.
Cruise control scares me.
Does it?
Yes.
Why?
I'm always afraid that I'm not going to be able to get out of it.
Oh, I understand that. You know what scares me? The backup cam. I don't believe it. I think there's a delay and something's going to happen. I have to the whole time, I will not use the camera. I won't.
I wanted a backup cam for my birthday, and so they installed one in my car. But the issue is every time I shut my trunk, the camera changes where it's looking.
Stop.
So I'm like, what was the point?
Yeah. Do you take your car to get the oil change or do you change your own oil?
Normally, my dad will call me every 6 months and be like, I think it's time.
I love that. I love it. You need a reminder.
Yeah.
I love that because they put the thing, but it's like,
Oh, no. And I take it off right away.
I don't want to see that.
I don't who wants that sticker?
Well, and also when you think about reading it, it's like, 6,000 miles or whatever, or this date. Well, which one do I have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want the one that's going to be longer because I want to pay less. I don't want to pay $100 every time, but I have to.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they go like, oh, do you want the 16-point inspection? Well, yeah, duh. I want all of it. But I don't think they're doing it every time.
No.
They're not.
And then they come back with like a full ass scroll of everything that's wrong with your car.
Right. Wait, you were raised in Memphis.
Yeah, right outside of Memphis. Mm-hmm.
But how long were you there? Like, how long has it been since you've been back? Do you have family there?
My mom's still right outside of Tennessee, so she's still there. And my dad is now in Ohio, and he actually is a homosexual now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen him on Grindr or anything like that when you travel?
Nobody's dating somebody named Joseph.
Oh, this is going to get layered. Layered like a banana pudding.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about it.
It's going to be so sweet. What an interesting story. I like that. Well, the reason I ask about Memphis is because, you know, a big deal, obviously, everywhere is drag brunch.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone that I know is like, dude, Memphis is the place where all of the bridal parties are. And they all come out, and it's the Michele's and the McKenna's and the Infinity Scarves and all of it. And they go out and they go have mimosas and margies, and they wreak havoc all over the place. Have you ever experienced?
No, but I want to.
You do? Please.
We should do a documentary.
Oh, it's available out there. It's actually, there's a song. Whenever I advertise that I'm doing a brunch, like, and I'll put it in my story, like the flyer, you can type in like brunch as a search song. And there is some, I don't know if it's an AI generated song or it's a real band, but it's all Betches Like Brunch. Na, 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 na. And it's those girls. And I often think to myself, like, I should dress up as one of those girls and do a brunch number as, like, with that song as those girls.
Yeah.
So it's a floppy hat.
Okay.
It's an infinity scarf. It's a jean cropped jacket. It's going to be, for me, it's going to be like a long maxi dress in maybe like avocado. And then it's going to be an ankle booty that's flat. And it's like tan nubuck, and then there's elastic on the sides, and you just pull it on. And then there's an owl necklace.
And I
do
think,
you see her?
Yes, I see her, but I see her doing this. I feel like you need to get in the studio.
Okay.
And your song, you need to have a brunch song.
Okay.
And your brunch song needs to be like, do you like brunch like me? Do you like mimosas like me? Do you like pancakes like me? Then be me. I think it just needs to be like
be me. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
We could do something like that. Do you go to drag brunch ever?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, that's a shame. A waste of money.
Well, I love supporting the local
Drag
girls.
No, it's good. We appreciate it, but goddamn, drag brunch is something. Let me tell you, you got to be built for drag brunch.
Built to watch it or built to do it?
Built like a brunch. What about build a brunch? We could do a build a brunch.
Like build a bear?
Yeah. What are you going to drink and eat at a brunch? Ideally.
A margarita always. I always will do a mezcal margarita with salt no matter the time of the day. I also will always do, in addition to that, a shot of Casamigos on the side, Blanco.
Mm-hmm.
That gets me going. Then if we're doing a good brunch, like if I want to feel good, I will do like salmon and a bagel.
And then what if you want to just go all out?
If I want to go all out, if you can get me a chicken biscuit with like egg, bacon, and cheese on it.
Wow.
Down.
So you would want the chicken and the egg together.
Yes.
That's like the mom and the baby.
Yeah.
Together.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. You pervert.
It could be called like mother, like daughter.
Oh. Why do I pull you into these conversations?
I
That's so
love
weird.
it. It makes me mind think. I'm like, ooh.
This is wild. Let's take a break. We are back with homosexual Joseph Shepard. And this is the part of the show called Read Me Delta where people send in letters.
Before I got to give you something.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
How?
Yes. Now.
Do it again.
Okay.
Oh.
Before. Before. I got to give you something. Okay. So every year, Halloween comes around and you trick or treat.
Yeah.
And I thought, what would Delta like? So I decided to go all out
Stop.
and get you multiple
You are
variations
joking.
of Diet Coke
You
in
are
a big
joking.
bucket. So look at this.
Oh my God. Joseph.
So you got minis, you have your normals, you have your 2-liter, you have your bottles, you have your mini bottles.
Look at the little bottles.
Yes.
Oh my.
The only ones missing are the 16 ounce, but I see you have a 16 ounce today, so I think that's okay.
Joseph.
I was like,
best. Thank you.
The Diet Coke moment. I said, you'll like that.
Oh, thank you. That is so thoughtful. Look at that. You're the best. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, this is the part of the show called Read Me Delta. And if you'd like to send in a letter, you can send it to readmedelta@gmail.com. Questions, queries, if you need some advice. Me and the guest will open these letters and we will do our best to address your needs. Dear Delta and special guest, I love going to conventions and dressing up as characters that I love. While I'm at these conventions, I also LARP. LARPing is live action role play where you are fully in character and acting and talking like a character. My question for you is, if you had to LARP at a convention, what character would you be? What would be your dialogue? And what would you wear? Love you, girl. Sincerely, very Meredith, the LARPing diva of Texas. Do you do LARPing or go to conventions ever?
I do not do LARPing or go to conventions. However, I do LAR Survivors.
What do you mean?
They're like live action, like you basically play Survivor on like a weekend. They do them here in like Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah. So these people go full out. They'll make games like Survivor. You get on tribes. You vote people off. You like try to win a money prize. I do those. Those are fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Where does that take place? Like at a park? Or?
So they normally like will rent out like a ranch or something, and you know it's cool.
Would you ever go to a Ren fair?
Like a Renaissance fair? Yes.
So fun.
I've never been, but I would love to go.
Oh, okay. So the Ren Fair here in Southern California, or at least in our area, happens like, I want to say April-ish every year. So if you ever want to go, it's super fun. They even have a dedicated LGBTQ day. Yeah, I think it's like maybe it's like the third day or something, but they set it aside.
Are
just
there
for that.
Renaissance glory holes?
Well, we could create our own because you can do woodworking there. You can learn everything. Yeah.
Make your own glory hole.
You can do that. Yeah. And here's the thing. If you don't have your costume, you can go there and rent costumes to put on. And they have broad size ranges. They have color options. They have decades. It's really fun. It really is fun.
I love that.
And the cool thing I will have to say about a Ren Fair is that in addition to having sort of the LGBTQIA plus day, it's just kind of open no matter when you're there, because the people that go are just really excited about the idea. At least the people who put it on. Of course, there's always going to be weird people that show up and that are dicks, but the people that put it on know that it's a safe space for creative people, artistic people, and people who want to just do something different, do something fun, right? If I've never done LARPing, and I've never, other than DragCon, I don't think I've ever gone to like a convention dressed up as someone. And I don't know, is everything role play or is everything cosplay, I guess?
I think a lot of things are cosplay. Like I consider sometimes like the Halloween outfits and stuff that I've done in the past, kind of like this, or I mean, this right here, I'll give my shout out. A guy named Zach, Lee16, he made this get up. And then Brittany Bites, she did my lovely makeup. So I love the cosplay aspect of it all. And I totally think I would go, but I don't understand the live action role playing. Like, is that just you're the character the whole time?
Yeah, I think you create scenarios and you interact with one another
as them,
as that character, which is fun. And I think, from my understanding, I could be totally wrong, and I don't want to misspeak about anyone's experience, but I think the idea is that you could even create your own character of a time, perhaps. So you could be like, you know, a news reporter from the 30s or something, or somebody from the 16th century. And I think a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into learning dialect sometimes.
So it's kind of like a murder mystery theater without the murder.
I think so. Again, I don't know exactly. But if I could dress up as maybe somebody historical, that's really exciting to me, that I've always been fascinated and connected with, is Lizzie Borden. I love Lizzie Borden. I'm fascinated. I love the movies. I love the original movie with Elizabeth Montgomery. I love the Chloe Sevigny movie. I love all of it. Like, the lore, the idea of what really went down, this idea of lesbianism. I love every aspect of it. So I would love, and I have 2 Lizzie Borden costumes that I had made for myself. And I have like the wigs, like I love it. Of course, I don't know where I would do that or where somebody would even embrace it as like part of a culture, but it's fascinating to me. So
Yeah.
Lizzie Borden. Yeah. I love it.
I like that.
I love it. And something about Victorian time in general is very attractive to me. Sort of an 1880 to 1910. I feel so compelled by the look and just all of it. The hairstyles, the underpinnings, the shoes, the jewelry, all of it is.
Yeah.
I love it. I know I'm going overboard about it, but I love Lizzie Borden. I want to go to the Lizzie Borden house. Which is interesting when you go look at houses like that. I have friends that went to go to the Winchester house.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, the Winchester house would be like sitting in the middle of like acres and acres of land. But when you actually see it, there's like regular houses, like maybe 200 feet up is like a 7-Eleven. Like it's contained in its area, but life has happened around it. So I don't know what the Lizzie Borden house is specifically like now. I would want to think there's other preserved spaces, but I could be totally wrong.
Could be right next to a highway.
Probably. It could have glory holes in it.
Mm.
And now see, you would go. Animal. Beast.
Beast.
All right. Next letter. This is Dear Delta and Joseph.
Oh, wow.
If you could be any item on a grocery store shelf, what would you be? What shop would you be at? Happy hauntings, David from Cape Town. An item on a grocery store shelf. And what shop would you be at?
I would be at a local Ralph's, Kroger, those type of things, Pavilions, Vaughn's, the frozen section, dinosaur chicken nuggets.
Okay. You love them?
Yeah, I think they taste different than regular chicken nuggets. So
do
down.
you do an air fryer or the oven or the microwave?
Air fryer.
Air fryer.
Air fryer to get them that nice, perfect consistency. I believe when you put chicken nuggets in the microwave, they get too soggy. When you put them in the oven, they get too hard. The air fryer is like the perfect consistency.
Do you do a dipping sauce for those?
If I do, it'll be honey mustard, or a barbecue sometimes. But predominantly, I eat them all plain.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many would you do in a serving, do you think? If you were like, I'm hungry, this is going to be my meal.
A bag. Once they're out, I'm like, whoop.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I had to be something at the store, I think I would be something that I buy all the time. And I always end up forgetting that I bought or I never really use. And that is like a beautiful bottle of preserves, like a fig preserve, an apricot preserve, especially one that's like in a glass jar. And then there's like fabric over it, over the lid, and then a bow. I buy that stuff all the time and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be having that on toast.
And
I don't have none of that on toast. I never have that on toast, ever. It sits up in the cabinet where the teas and all that kind of stuff is, right? And it's just like tea. I will buy tea and I'm like, girl, you're just going to drink Lipton. Knock it off. You're not doing all that. Oh, I need this tea because it's, it's going to have beetroot or it's going to, what? No, my system is already screwed.
So what you're saying by that is that you want to be this preserve. So you find yourself appealable to the upper class. The upper class is actually going to eat you. The other classes are going to buy you off the shelf and just put you in the back and they'll always have you.
No. I mean, that could be. I just want it to be pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I like pretty things. Like I love setting out pretty things. And I don't know. I know that speaks to something, right? I think that speaks to a compensation for
Mhm.
something. Absolutely. I don't know specifically what, but somebody could probably come read me and let me know what all that is. But I definitely love surrounding myself with things that I think are cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the desk, like in my mind, I'm like, I love all this because this reminds me of Halloween. But in
Mhm.
my mind, Halloween could be all pumpkins, or it could be a mad scientist
Mhm.
lab, or it could be werewolves of London is the theme. Like, I love a theme,
Yeah.
right? I think that came from when I first saw Tu Wong Fu and Nogzima Jackson said, well, what's your theme? And they said, I don't know. We strawberries, red and wild. Red and wild, that's your theme. You can have a theme, right?
I love it.
I love it. So I will shop like at Marshall's, say, and I'll go down that food aisle where I'm
Mhm.
really not going to buy anything, but I'll look at stuff and I'm like, that needs to be my whole aesthetic. That print, that jar. I need to get rid of all the jars we have at home and I need to do that
Yes.
look. I won't do it. So I'll just buy like a $2.99 little, like World Market.
Mhm.
Oh, I could buy everything in there.
Do you ever do like the Christmas hunt in World Market?
No, but I've heard of it.
I've always wanted to do it. Never have, but
We should do it.
we should do it.
We should do it. Do you like celebrating Christmas?
I love celebrating Christmas.
You do?
Yeah.
When are you going to start decorating for Christmas?
Probably day after Thanksgiving.
Here's the thing. The Christmas ornaments go up right after Halloween, and you want them for Thanksgiving, you want them for Christmas, you want them for Hanukkah, you want them for Kwanzaa, you want them to go all the way through New Year's, and then a week into New Year's, you may start removing them. I'm going to say 2 weeks because I want it to last. See, I come to life the day after Labor Day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I live all the way through to about Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And then I go into hibernation. I can't be around anymore.
Because it's the summer.
I would say I don't make the rules, but I make the rules.
Yes.
Joseph, thank you so much for being here. This
Thank
is super,
you.
super fun. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
for getting
much.
all dolled up. I know you
Oh, of
went through
course.
a lot to get this done. I mean, this is an early morning to have this done.
This
so
was an
thank you.
early morning. I have a deep love of Mr. Freeze. So,
Well, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for listening and watching Very Delta. Our show comes out every Monday. Subscribe to Mom Podcast YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. Search for Very Delta on your favorite podcast apps to listen to the audio-only version if you can't handle all of this freeze glamour. You can also sign up for our premium offerings on Mom Plus Gold by visiting mompodcast.plus, where you get weekly episodes of more Very Delta. Don't forget to send all of your questions to readmedelta@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at DeltaWork. Where can people follow you on socials?
At Joseph A. Shepard. That's JosephAShepHerd. Everywhere. Or you can just go on YouTube, type in Exposed Joseph. Watch some Queen interviews.
I love it. We'll see you next week. And until then, keep things very Delta. Very Delta is produced by Moguls of Media, aka Mom. Hosted by Delta Work. Produced and edited by Doug Robertson. Technical direction by Margot Padilla. With original theme music by Will Pitts. Media and design support by Stone Cold. And set design by Eris Sevilla. Executive produced by Alaska, Willem, Big Dipper, Camille Stennis, and Joe Cilio. Recorded at Forever Dog Productions. Hey, Doug, are we cool? We're good. Are you f***ing lying?
Are you lying?
Picking
Liar.
Oh, you better f***ing lie to me, Doug. You f***ing lie to me, baby.
Liar.
You know how I f***ing like it when you lie.
Mom!
To listen to Very Delta ad-free, 1 day early, and to get access to more Very Delta and all of Mom Podcast's premium content, check out Mom Plus Gold at mompodcast.plus.